Alright, hey guys, egoballas and Gilly12 here. Shit tons of people were asking for this, and we were gonna do it, but for some reason, every time we told someone in the comments that we were gonna do it, another person would say, hey, egoballas, do an Eclipse Etha comparison. We're like, we're gonna fucking do it. You're like, do it anyway. We're like, we're gonna fucking do it, so we're fucking doing it. I'm sorry, that was a rant. So, Eclipse Etha comparison video. Yeah, we're just gonna like get down the basics, what you should buy, what you shouldn't buy, pros, cons of both. So let's go.
Alright, so before we start, just want to point out, the axe is stock except for a red line board, which doesn't really affect the shooting necessarily. And the Etha is completely stock with about 11 cases through it. So we're just going to do a kick test first with about 5 balls on each. Why don't you do axe and then Etha. By the way guys, if you can't see, the axe is on the right and the Etha is on the left. Alright, and let's do a little sound comparison. Let's try to tell you guys which one's really the more light sounding gun. Not light and quiet.
Definitely the axe. Listen to this. Axe. Etha.
Yeah, so first category, sound. I think the Etha is quieter.
Axe.
Axe, sorry, my bad. Yeah, so let's try to determine the kick winner here.
Can you see it?
Yep.
Axe. Etha. Axe. Etha. I would actually say the axe again.
The axe?
Yeah, look. Axe. Etha.
Yeah. Alright. And why don't we do a stream of what's left for the axe? Show you guys. Typical stream.
Woo.
Alright, and let's test out this Etha.
I got it. Ready?
Yep.
That's all, folks.
Alright, so I think in stream consistency, I'd say, with experience actually, oh, fuck you, loud truck in the background. I think the Etha wins in terms of how straight the paint stream goes, I think. But basically what we're going to do now, as you saw that, we're going to go inside, we're going to pretty much lay down the quick pros and cons of each gun. We're going to look at the regs, the bolts, the ASAs, the barrel, and pretty much all the stock parts, and just tell you which ones are better and then give you our end conclusion. Alright, hey guys, so I'm shooting stuff, and now we're kind of going to give you the breakdown on, we're going to look at each individual part of the gun and compare them to each other. So I guess first thing we'll start with, what I'm dangling with over here, are the ASAs. On the Eclipse Etha, it resembles very much like the clone. It's really simple, you know, you just screw it in, tear it up, whatever. The axe is, you pull down this lever right here, and it's aired up too, and also it has a gauge that'll tell you what your PSI is at. Do I ever use that for anything?
Nope.
Not really, but is it cool to have? Sure, it doesn't really bother you in any way. But, so for the ASA comparison, let me say it's a tie. There's nothing really extremely unique about them.
I'm actually going to have to disagree with you there.
Which one do you like?
I think the axe is much easier to use. Like, there's nothing wrong with either of them, but the axe is just a flick of the switch, which is just much quicker than having to screw something in.
That's true. The axe is quicker. Definitely. Although there is nothing groundbreakingly revolutionary here, but the axe is quicker. So, yeah, I guess we'll give the ASA to the axe. Next thing, we're going to step up from the ASA and look at the grips. The axe has wraparound grips, very similar to the Invert Mini. And the Etha has panel grips.
Very similar to a bag of garbage.
Yeah, which feel pretty shitty, quite honest. The grips on the Etha aren't that comfortable, but although I'm not talking about comfortability right now, I'm just talking about the grips itself, so I'll give that to the axe. Next thing we'll look at is the triggers. Guess we'll just move to the left. Etha trigger is very nice, I think. It's nice. Once you adjust it, well, it'll suit you fine. Stock trigger on the axe. It's pretty good too. I mean, both triggers are pretty good. I'm gonna give a tie with the triggers. I don't think there's anything too different about them. So I guess we'll move again to the left, although for the axe to the left is the board and to the Etha to the left is the reg. But I guess we'll talk about the boards. So right here I have the upgraded board for the axe. Right now we're going to do a comparison of what the guns are like stock. So I'm going to talk about the stock board and not the red line, because that's a $200 upgrade, so you can't really use that in a comparison against stock stuff. So Etha has an LED on the back. You turn it on. Very easy to use. Tells you eyes. Does it change colors? Yeah? Is it changing colors?
Yeah.
Cool. Tells you that. You can hold it down for like 2 seconds and now the eyes are off. Very easy board to use. I mean, is it easy? No, but it's like any LED board.
It's a simple board. I mean, it's hard to program it because there's only one external button. But if you just want to like turn it on and shoot, then it's perfectly easy.
Yeah, it's fine. The stock board on the axe, sorry we don't have it, but it would be right here. It's a button. You have to take the grips off to change the modes on the axe.
Same with the Etha.
I think you do have to do that on the Etha as well. So boards, we'll give them a tie. Stock boards, that is. Let's see what else. We'll do feed necks.
Sure.
Axe, easy. There's one screw here that controls, you know, how tight you want it. Little other screw over here. And on the Etha, it's just like the E-Tech feed neck. It is one of the composite parts of the Etha. However, I think it's fine. Works well, whatever. Guess we'll do the regs.
There is like no reg on the axe.
Yeah, it's hard to compare the reg. That's why definitely something if you're looking at buying the axe of the Etha, think about if you like guns with or without macro lines. If you're a Lux fan, Demon fan, G6R fan, and you like stuff without a macro line, then axe maybe. I love having guns with macro lines. I think it's a lot easier to find leak problems.
Yeah.
I just like the feel of having a macro line.
Well, I don't really mind the feel of a macro line or not. It's the fact that macro lines I think are much easier to maintain.
Yeah.
As egoballas struggles to work on his, but
no, it's the reg.
Yeah, I know, but Jack Wood himself even said he'll never make a gun without a macro line because macro line guns usually tend to be more reliable. Like just what I've seen, like my Geo 2.1 never had a problem with it. Ego 11s never have problems with it, but Luxes will have some. I'm not saying it's just about the macro line or not, but I do think that there's a factor there.
Yeah, so it goes down to really personal preference, what you think feels better, what you think is going to be better for yourself. The reg for the axe is inside the grips. It's weird looking reg.
Yeah.
I guess I don't know. No, I don't know. Let's take the grips off. You guys know what it looks like. Anyway, this is the reg. Etha reg, I think I'm going to give it the win just because it's the same exact reg found on the CSL, found on the Ego 11, found on the Geo 2. Planet Eclipse has pretty much been using the same regs since the Ego 9 pretty much, and it's awesome. Great efficiency out of all guns. So I guess we'll have to talk about that in a little efficiency. But yeah, so we'll give Etha the win on the reg. Now I'll go into the bolts, which are very, very similar, as you'll realize. in a second. Both are very easy to get out of the guns. Not really that much of an issue there. 1 second, guys. Alright. Axe, all you do is you push down on this little indent here, and you turn the bolt to the right. Pops out a little bit, then you push down on the indent once again, turn the bolt to the left, and out comes the bolt.
Ta-da!
Here it is. It's a spring followed by a little upper, I don't know what the fuck to call this thing. Then you have the bolt body pretty much. Yeah, there you go. Etha, I think you can get it out without an Allen wrench, but an Allen wrench nearby, so I might as well just use it. Unscrew that. Pull the bolt out. And here you go.
Ta-da!
It's a little bit more compact. You have the spring, very similar to the axe. On the left is the Etha, here is the axe springs. You have the pin. I don't know what the fuck to call this. I'm calling it a pin, even though it looks nothing like a pin.
I think it's called the rammer.
I don't know.
Let's go with the rammer.
Anyway, I think PE adjusted this based off the axe, and that's why I'm going to probably give the bolt win to the Etha. They put a rubber tip here,
Soft tip.
which is similar to what they did with the Cure 4 for the Egos, which putting the soft tip at the front so that it's better feel for the ball. God, my hands are disgusting. And they also indented it here so that the ball kind of sinks into this nice rubber tip and then pushes it out. On the axe, the stock one, at least, I know they have upgrades, but stock one, it's not rubber. Well, it's a little bit rubber towards the end, but there's no really indent for the paintball. Then you have two parts. You unscrew this. We're going back to the Etha bolt here, guys. And you end up with this little sleeve that the axe doesn't necessarily have once you look at the two right axe, left Etha. Like I said, they're very similar. This is the Etha right here, is very similar to the end of the Geo bolt. And right here, you have a little spacer, the actual bolt, and that's that. So, bolts are both fairly simple. I'm just going to give the win to the Etha on the bolts just because I like how they put the rubber tip there. It's very gentle with the paint. And I think that's nice. It's kind of a modification of the axe, although I know you can get upgraded axe bolts that have that. But anyway, that's that. Other things, I guess we'll do how does it feel in the hands. Etha feels pretty good. I wish they had a little bit more room over here. That would have been nice. But feels nice, I think. It's not bad. The axe feels pretty good too. And weight comparison,
about the same.
Pretty even. I'll put the, I know the Etha weighs something like 2.05 pounds. I think that's exactly what it is. I'll put the axe weight in the description. I don't know what exactly the axe weight is. But otherwise, conclusion, we'll let Aaron do the conclusion. 1 sec.
Oh. Okay.
So, wrap up.
Moving that out of the frame. Alright, looks good. Go.
Alright, wrap up. So, this is a really hard comparison because these are both really good guns. They're both pretty comfortable in the hands. There aren't many flaws about them. The Etha's grips are a little, they're not as good as they could be, but they're not, like, terrible. They both, I said this before, they both feel great in the hands. I think the Etha looks a little more streamlined. The axe is advertised as the, like, Empire's kind of saying the world's first pro marker that's not high end, if you get what I'm saying. Like, pro teams like Excessive and Infamous use the axe because Empire told them to, and they pay them shit tons of money. And Empire went on this whole campaign saying like you don't need a high-end gun to be a pro player, and so they're using this as their pro marker. But meanwhile, Planet Eclipse is using this as their low end. They have the E-Tech, which is also their low end version of the Ego, and these markers are what, 400?
$395.
$395. Ethas are $395. E-Tech 3s are
$495.
$495. And so they are low ends just like the Axe. But you don't see pro teams using them, not because they're bad, but just for the fact that pro teams would rather have a high end such as an Ego 11 or a Geo 2.1, or even a CSL if you really want to be a high roller. But just because pro teams are using the Axe but not using the Etha doesn't mean the Etha is any less of a marker. Both guns are in the beginner range or the low-end range, so they're much cheaper markers than a high-end, so you wouldn't get like an LED board, or an LCD board, or like better efficiency or things like that. But what do I have to give it to? Axe has a smoother shot, I think. They're both about the same comfortability. I think just for the fact that I haven't had any problems with the Etha yet, and I've seen problems with the Axe,
yeah,
I'm gonna give it to the Etha. Planet Eclipse always makes super, super reliable markers that they'll never fail you, and so like for $395, you're saving 80 bucks on the Axe. The Etha. So the Etha's $395, the Axe is like $470, or egoballas is looking it up right now. But you're saving a little bit of money on the Etha.
Axe is $460.
Axe is $460. So you're saving a little bit of money on the Etha, and also the Etha performed just as well as the Axe. So yeah, I would say I would rather get an Etha. What about you, egoballas?
I'm gonna agree with that just because I know that that Etha itself, before I got it, had about 10 cases through it because I got it from somebody who got it early from Planet Eclipse, and he had no problems with it. I know that I gave it to my teammate this weekend who shot about 2 cases through a ton of paint, and there wasn't that many issues either. I used it, didn't have a ton of issues. I know that's my friend's Axe over there. You've seen it on here before. He has had a little bit of issues from time to time with velocity jumps and no leakage issues, but not necessarily.
Actually,
but
hold on. It's leaking out the bowl.
Okay, it's a little leakage issue.
But it's leaking out the bowl.
Yeah, I think it is nice that the Etha, Axe has all these cool aftermarket parts to it. I think that's neat. But like I said, that's because the Axe has been out since, what, Chicago? PSP Chicago, did they have the Axe?
Earlier. I thought it was like Galveston.
Earlier, yeah, it was Galveston, I think. Yeah, it was Galveston when they first tried out the Axes. So it's been out for almost a year now, so obviously, you know, they got upgrades for the board, upgrade triggers. Critical just came out with triggers. There's tons of barrels you can throw on it, ASAs, bolts, whatever. And I expect that for the Etha, definitely. Like, I'm thinking it would be awesome if they made a AM Etha like they did with the E-Tech with not composite parts. That'd be cool. I think they could start rolling out some new colors. I know now they have tons of different colors with the E-Techs. They have hush bolts for the E-Techs, you know, all this different upgrades. So I think in its due time, when the Etha has been out for a year, they'll have upgrades too, so that'd be cool. But necessarily right now, you don't even need that many upgrades. Maybe I'd get maybe a new board, because I like LCD screens, but you don't really need a ton to upgrade, and I think that's cool. So overall, we don't hate the Axe, but we don't hate the Etha either. I think they're both great guns. The Etha is a little bit cheaper. It is Planet Eclipse, which has been known to make outstanding guns, at least. I know Empire makes products, but this is really their first go at a speedball gun. So Planet Eclipse has been making excellent speedball guns for years now, actually 20 years now. It's their anniversary. So you have to give it to Planet Eclipse on this one.
That's not a leak.
Didn't screw in the macro line all the way. Don't worry. Yeah, that's pretty much our comparison. Definitely, if you have an axe, I'd stick with it. If you were planning on picking up an axe for a cheap price, maybe a used one for $350 or something, you're not going to go wrong with it. It's not necessarily a bad gun. I'm just saying that ethos are cool, and you should totally buy this for me, by the way, guys. But yeah, thank you for watching. I know it was a little bit lengthy, but a lot of people were asking me. We wanted to break down all the topics of the guns, make sure we covered everything. So yeah, that's pretty much